Harrikinga van de kinderste aan de kerjama hadden ze de sidderva in de karke de norke de stenalava drakjava maar hele olla kielus propaganda just to hit me propaganda just to hit me propaganda just to hit me propaganda just to hit me.
Hello everyone and welcome to the second episode of the Propagandists. Today we shall go over an American propaganda film specifically made by the Warner Brothers, the creators of Looney Tunes. They are an American company, and in this video, called Tokyo Jokio, they were making fun of the Japanese during the war. This film was created in 1943, and was used as a way to dehumanize the Japanese. I'll check back with you in a little bit when there is something good to say, and enjoy the beginning of the video.
Attention, please. This film, now released for public showing, has been captured from the enemy. It is a typical example of vicious Japanese propaganda.
Already we start off calling the Japanese the enemy, the Japanazis, the vicious Japanazis. While it is true that they were the enemy at that time, they were still human. The Warner Brothers may not have intended to make a full-on propaganda film, but in a way, this is what's happening. They're painting them as enemies. They're painting them as vicious, as angry, as bothersome, as just evil.
Cock-a-doodle-doo, please.
Alright, there are a couple things to break down here. First, I'll go for the obvious one, the Japanese accent, which the Warner Brothers are trying to mock here, in a way, replacing all of the sounds that are supposed to be an L with an R, and saying the please at the end of a sentence. This is a Japanese stereotype that has persisted throughout the years. And while all stereotypes have an edge of truth in them, it is still dehumanizing to point them out consistently to attempt to make fun. Also, with the changing of the chicken to the crow, it changes from what would be considered an American standard, replaced with the black-haired, glasses, kind of sneaky-looking bird, the vulture, the ones who are seeking to prey off of our resources.
We are now privileged to witnessing demonstration of Japan's finest air raid siren.
Here we can get our first look at how the Warner Bros. Were trying to talk about and show the Japanese. The big teeth, the buck teeth, the circular glasses, kind of balding, large-eared, robe-wearing, sandal-wearing, stereotypical view of the Japanese in an almost racist way, I'd say, and even feasible to say. Though, the even more glaring thing about this scene, other than their looks, is the fact that they are hurting themselves for the military. This could be considered, in a way, sort of like the kamikazes were with the planes. They're hurting themselves for the good of their military or their country.
And now please to observing a look at listening post. Over here are honorable aircraft spotter. Now we are showing you fire prevention headquarters. Oh, Sanagan, too late. Incendiary bombs.
One, two, three, four.
Quiet. Okay.
Oh, losing face, please. Losing face.
Instead of breaking down all those scenes separately, I thought I'd let them all just play out, as they have relatively the same thing. That the Japanese way of life, their people, the way they make their military, their infrastructure, they're all ineffective, they're all stupid, and they all listen to instructions word for word, even if common sense would dictate that it is the wrong thing to do. This is a very common theme throughout this video, and I'll come back to it later when I see some more examples.
Kitchen hints. To demonstrate how to constructing the delicious Japanese club sandwich. Slice bread ration card, so. Place a piece of a meat ration card, so. Then eat them. Oh, yum yum sandwich. After eating, you were enjoying a crab.
Again, here they try to portray the Japanese as stupid, but more importantly about this scene, they try to show that they are in a way suffering and happy about it, because that's what their people have told them to do. As you can see, their ration cards, they don't want to eat a lot of food, they're just perfectly happy with the meager amount of food they're given, even if they're just eating the cards themselves, because they don't have the abundance like they would in the United States. That's not to say that the Japanese didn't eat, but this is to show that their lifestyle was not great, or so the Warner Brothers wanted to show.
Presenting Nippon News Styles of the Week. Presenting Japanese victory suit. No cuffs, no pleats, no lapels, no suit.
Again, the Warner Brothers try to show that the Japanese people of the time were not living up to what would be called the American standard of comfort. That they are perfectly happy with their, well, what looks like a diaper, in exchange of their actual clothes, that they don't have the proper things that a society should have. It again dehumanizes them, saying that they're fine with all this.
These are Red Toga-san, bringing you highlights in a world of sports. Here we are seeing Japanese King of SWAT. Headline personalities. And I, Yamamoto, will dictate peace terms in the White House.
This whole scene was another fear tactic, showing that the Japanese wanted to electrocute the US president or anyone that got in their way. It also showed General Yamamoto as kind of short, for some reason, on stilts. I honestly don't even know what that's about. Maybe it's another Asian stereotype or even a Japanese stereotype of them being short. Though oddly enough, General Yamamoto was one of the more relaxed Japanese military commanders.
General Hama demonstrates coolness and calmness of a Japanese officer during air raid. Flashes from the Axis. Berlin. Flash, the Fuhrer has just received a postcard from a friend vacationing abroad.
And of course, you can't have a US World War II propaganda film without making fun of the Germans at least a little bit. Here they're showing the announcer from German as a donkey, and as you can see from the sign, it says Lord Hee-Haw, Chief Windbag, showing that the Germans were nothing but windbags, and that they're very close with the Japanese even, showing even more dehumanity for aligning with such a horrible dictator.
Rome. The Rome Chamber of Commerce takes us for a visit through its celebrated ruins. For Japanese Navy or at sea. Oh, believe it or don't, this submarine launched 3 weeks ahead of schedule.
And we get back to the Japanese machines being poorly made, poorly constructed, and rushed. And oddly enough, this scene was actually kind of funny. They were trying to build underwater, and in a couple seconds, the thing crashes, and the guy trying to catch up to it is left behind, and just sort of like, whatever. But it just tried to increase our confidence about our machines and our war machine in general being more well-built and a lot more efficient.
Inside submarine, fearless sailors work in maze of intricate machinery, indicators and control levers. Oh, very, very technical.
This one scene, like most of the rest of it, wasn't very subtle. It showed the Japanese military is kind of lazy to a degree, not doing their jobs like the proper American military, the disciplined military in the US would be, even though the Japanese military was extremely well disciplined compared to most.
These happy gentlemen are navigating a human torpedo. Very, very dangerous stuff. But he are not caring. Are you, happy gentlemen? Ye are courageous like Dickens. Happy gentlemen, have you anything to say? Oh, no, nothing except... Rat me out of here!
This scene, again, like the last one, wasn't very subtle, though I'll admit I chuckled a little bit at this one. But it showed that the Japanese military was forcing their soldiers into dangerous situations, like the kamikazes, the human torpedoes, and that they were suffering, and we must defeat them. They're mistreating their soldiers that sacrifice themselves. This one was actually kind of funny to me.
Now we are sneaking glimpse of plane being launched by super duper catapult device. And here are Zero Fighter demonstrating new tricycle landing gear.
The thing with the Warner Bros. Pictures is that they do add quite a bit of humor to these propaganda films, making them a little more acceptable to the general population, especially to children, sort of indoctrinating them to a degree, but even I will admit this made me chuckle again. But again, it shows the Japanese machinery as inefficient, and they have to use people as machine parts, making them inhuman.
Approaching into our scene are Honorable Skinamaru, our busiest aircraft carrier.
This right here can reference one of two things. Either the kamikaze pilots, that they're bringing back the salvage after they crashed, or, again, the general inefficiency of the Japanese machines. That's, in a way, up to interpretation, though in my personal opinion, it referenced the kamikazes. Though it could very easily be the other one.
Whoa, this little vessel are Navy minesweeper.
This one I honestly think was just put in as a joke. Rather funny one, to be honest, and a good wordplay. But I honestly think this was just a joke. This sort of, in a way, end the video on a lighter note than the rest of it really was.
That's all, folks.
As you can see, the Warner Brothers were trying to dehumanize the Japanese, and in a rather funny way, I will admit, but they were trying to make them seem inefficient, that we were going to win this, and we must help the people that were being so mistreated. They try to portray the Japanese as stupid, extra obedient, and just in general, poor workers who weren't worth a worthy enemy. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching this episode of The Propagandist, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Farewell.
And the killer shot there from